Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Flex and Joe back with another trade recap. It is Wednesday, December 13th, and today was FOMC day. As you can probably tell by this chart with this just crazy rip following the 2 o'clock rate hike announcement that we were going to stay flat, no adjustments. And then when Jay Powell started talking here at about 2:30, we continued higher, right? So I want to talk about the entry that I took and the thesis behind this trade. So uh, looking at the NQ chart, just starting where we were, we kept just gradually moving down, and it felt like this was a very, very soft, sort of landing that we were going to do, and that we were going to find a hard bounce higher. I just kept looking at this thinking like, okay, where are we going to potentially, start to stop and then potentially turn around, right? So looking at this chart, I was very interested in the prior day's close. I've been doing a lot of back testing, and what I found is that where we closed during the New York session, oftentimes when we open the next day, we will gravitate towards that close, and then, like today, we will reverse away from it, okay? So I actually messed up a little bit, and I'll explain that in this trade review. So I marked the prior day's close, and I marked it right here. As you can see, that is the right candle. However, the close is actually down a few ticks. So leaving that where I marked it, you'll see what I messed up on is I actually got in once I saw that we were wicking off that close, and we wicked down, we closed a little of it. When we wicked down again, that's when I took it, and my actual order didn't fill. I thought I was going to grab 4 cons. It only grabbed me 2, and that's why I grabbed 2 more. So doing that, obviously I got in a little bit early because in all actuality, just going back to that same level, this is where the close really is on that candle that ends at 4 p.m. And then look, it's crystal clear that we wicked off of it perfectly. So my thesis was correct, but my entry was a little bit poor, and I almost got stopped out because of this. I do typically like to have a 6-point risk on my trades. And what I did was I left it on 6 points off of this lower entry, which was the second entry, because initially I grabbed it here. It was almost a little bit late, letting it push up. And then I grabbed the other 2 cons right here. So I did 6 points from right here at 81.50. And then I put my stop at 75.50. And you can see just how close I came to stopping out on this because I drew the line incorrectly. So bit of a lucky break there. I probably would have retaken this trade after I realized it and got in somewhere probably over here around the same levels anyways. Every once in a while I take a trade where I get stopped out, I see that it's still a valid trade, and I retake it, and it works. I think it's really important to talk about being in on the right side of the V, and as you can tell, I got in on the left side of the V, but it happened to work. So it's not always my goal. I don't need to be in first, but I knew I had a solid trade thesis, and this is where I got in. So full transparency there. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on improving every day, which is what these videos help me do. So after you see this previous day's close, right, I'm very aware that I'm now in a trade 45 minutes before FOMC, but I think and I feel like this is the direction we're going to go in, right? Prior to that, I decided to take some off here at 95, right? Because just looking at it, it was about, 14-ish points, whatever, 13 points on the average. It was a little bit below this orb low, this opening range level here, the initial balance low, and I wanted to just lock in some profit here. Now, what I did do is I did move my stop up to break even, just to kind of, de-risk and also make sure that having my stop right about here at 83, if there was a sharp move down, even with some slippage, it would probably still stop me out before my original stop, just in case I was wrong and there is a possibility of that. This second contract filled almost instantly. If I go down to that 1 minute chart, we'll slide back. You'll see, like on the 1 minute, it literally jumped up through this, and it actually grabbed this one as well. The reason I had my scales there is, this VWAP did get pulled up a little bit, but I wanted to scale a little bit before VWAP, and I wanted to scale a little bit, or right around this sort of pivot area where we had moved up and rejected earlier in the morning. I just wanted to get a little bit of a preemptive scale out, and I like scaling on pivot breaks, but I really like scaling at the pivot, because as you'll see right here, this is a big bearish candle where the bears were sitting, and it was respected right there on that wick. So I thought, hey, if the bears are going to come back in, this is the spot that they'll do it. So I was happy to take some off there. Now, of course, in hindsight, I could have done better and taken more off, but you never know how this candle is going to rip. You never know if it's going to go and then it's going to fade against you. So at this point, I'm very happy to have taken 3 contracts off. I consider this trade to be a success, and that's that. I moved my stop now to where I traded and sold the first one. So regardless, I'm going to end up with 2 contracts sold here, one here, right? Price continues to move up in my favor, and I see this is moving very fast in my desired direction. As I do this, I'm holding that last con from 81.50, and I see, especially as we're pushing up, this is before JPal even speaks, I'm up like 140 points. And yesterday's trade, I grabbed 160, and I started to think, well, I could have grabbed more yesterday. What are the odds that today could be a day where I get, closer to 200? So I had as I'm moving my stop up, I had my take profit. I just literally dropped it right on the 200 mark. And that's where I left it. As you'll see, he comes out, he starts talking, it pulls back against me. I think that's fine. At this point, I already moved my stop up to here. So I'm going to get 1 contract here, 1 here, and 2 here. I consider the trade to be even more of a success, and I continue to gradually move it up. After we have a red candle and then we push up and close a green candle, I'm moving my stop to the red candle's low, right? So, we have a red candle, then this push up green candle closes higher. I move my stop here. And then, we had this red candle, green candle, it doesn't quite close higher. I leave my stop in this general range, but I want to just talk about this candle. At some point, this candle just really snaps upward, and it missed this fill by 8 ticks. And so from the moment that happened, and I'm going to go back to that 1 minute chart, from the moment that this candle happened here, which was 14:42 to 14:43 Eastern time, because this candle closes at 14:43, all the way until when it actually got filled, that 13 minutes just felt like an absolute eternity, right? Because I knew no matter what, I had a new record trade that was going to be in the bag, and I had broken that 160 mark as long as I sold, at this level or higher. But this candle came back down and tested it, and I was like, damn, how much of this am I really going to get back? Because from here at 79, it did trail back to 41. That was a 38-point pullback in just 3 minutes. And I really didn't know what the market was going to do, but I felt very confident. I also want to point out that this was an all-time high break on NQ. So we broke the all-time high, and we quickly rejected it. And then we were just chopping around it for a bit. And again, rightfully so, at such a high level, the all-time high level of importance, I thought it might fade down, but it didn't. Continued to push, and I got this pop through and finally scaled out here for 200 points. So 200 points on NQ. It's a $4,000 contract. It's a new personal record, so I went back to back on those records with the NQ trades this week. Let me know what you guys think of this trade down in the comments. And if you're looking to see any more trade, either recaps or just some market analysis, let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.